Hello, hello. I'm thinking we are live. Just getting everything set up. Hey everyone, it is Desiree. Let's see here. Think it's gonna work, yes. Well, good morning, Vicky. You're just like right in there. Hopefully you can see me and hear me. Good morning, Cordelia. How are you? Okay, so you can see we're gonna I'm gonna try something different here. I don't know if this is going to work, but like always, I have this idea in my mind. We're gonna do some watercoloring, and we're gonna do some watercoloring on some die cuts. Good morning, Kelly. How are you? Okay, so the die that I'm actually gonna use, I have to make a sympathy card. Um, and it's a die set from the from Sabrina's Scrappy Tales new release, and um, it's just a beautiful. It's an A7 plate, so 5 by 7 card. So this is the main piece, and then you get the sentiment as well. And then these are the layering. Now, I'm not going to worry about these pieces here. Um, but the branches, and we're going to do some layering, and I've already taken care of the die cut, but um, her English Garden Wedding collection is just beautiful. So these are the die cuts, and I have to admit they absolutely die cut beautifully. And these are going to be layered so that we can get dimension. I just want it to be a little stronger when it comes to this. And then we have two more die cuts that are going to go on top when it comes to the branches. Um, and then we're going to have a base that comes in as well. And all of these, the top layers, are going to be watercolored. I don't know how well this is going to work, but fingers crossed. Right? Right? Yeah. It is a big dime. Because again, I do love my real estate on my cards. And I just love the way this comes back. And then I have the panel set up. We're going to create a background that's going to fit on this. So like a sunset that's going to come, that's going to sit like right here. But I'm just going to do a wash. So, I don't know. We're going to see. We are going to see. I do have um, my mini glass board here. For this background, I'm going to use my watercolors, because I think that will be easier. So, let's see. Okay, and these are my QORs. Um, I love the colors in the QORs. They're just very vibrant. Um, and they blend very differently. Okay, let's see. I'm going to put down the watercolor paper I'm using is Canson XL. I love my Canson XL. Um, And I'm just going to put down a very, I don't want to saturate it, and I did tape it off using my, this is just regular blue painter's tape, low tack, um, and I really put a thin border on it. So I'm just going to come in and just really work that water in there. And then we're gonna start it out like that. I want it to be soft, and then I'm actually going to use some of the colors that are sitting in there. And then just get darker as we go. And I want to get into a blue. And I'm going to try not to overwork this. Too much. And I think I just went down too far. No! And again, I'm just lightly coming in with these colors, and I want them to bleed. I want them to see what they'll do. And then I do want to come in with just a shade of black, and then that is just going to be pulled down through this so that it tones it out. Yeah. So never be afraid of those scary dark colors, you know, your blacks, your browns, because they can do a lot. Good morning, Heidi. How are you doing? Um, because it can tone it down. Now, I'm just going to set this aside, and I'm going to let this dry. There's not a lot of water going on in here, which is good. And you can see when I take this, once it's dry, it's just going to be this subtle background going on there, because watercolors dry back. It's not going to be this vibrant. I may come in with a second layer, but for right now, I'm just going to let that dry. I am doing good. Thank you for asking. I do like to wipe off the edge of my tape, because if I tip this or do anything, it could go back in, and I really like that wash. All right, so I'm going to set this aside. And we're going to let that dry. Now what I want to do, this is the part that I'm not sure is going to work. But, you know, you never know. We're going to try it. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to work on the branches, and just one layer of the branches. Now, the thing is, you know, we're going to add water to these. These are going to curl up. They're going to do all kinds of things. I'm sure it would be easier if I just sprayed it. Um, but I want to do it more difficult um, when it comes to this. And for this, for the detailed work, I'm going to use my Altenew brushes, watercolor brushes. Haven't used these in a while. Heidi, there is. Are you okay? Now I'm not trying to do anything here, but hold on. I'm going to apologize now. I have this lingering cough that is just amazing. So you've got all kinds of options. You can email them to me, or if you're comfortable in my free community, you're able to post within my posts. And actually, for July, this month, it was a single signature, and you can post. You actually can upload your photos in there if you're comfortable with that. Not everybody is comfortable showing their work, but I know you would be able to inspire everyone. So they're the two ways that you can do that. Absolutely, I would love to see them. Um, so I haven't used these in a while. Um, so you know what? I want to fall back in love with them. Now I am, and this is just me. I am not a complete fan of watercolor brushes, to say the least. All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to lightly get a color down on these. Because I don't have control of where it goes sometimes, because sometimes, you know, these spit out. Um, they do all kinds of funny things, and it just drives me crazy. But the reason why I wanted to do this way is because after they're die cut, you get these beautiful impressions from the die, because Sabrina puts so much details in her dies that it'll settle in there and it'll actually create um, you know, the divots, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm looking to do. And then when I get this darker shade down here, and I'm hoping that we don't get too much water, I'm going to come in with a paintbrush and just swipe up to get these different colors going on here. On that. So hopefully this works. So it's a different way to use this supply. And I am, of course, working on one of my boards because I don't want this to get all over my work surface. But as it's, and I'm taking some of the water out of my brush. And I just want these different shades of brown to come through. and then working them out. And I'm getting rid of my fingers, my my thumb impression. And then I'll clean up the edges, um, and I'll put vintage photo. I'll come in with some of that and scorched timber to come down. So it's actually working. I see Halloween there. These would be great for Halloween, coming in. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for, and I'm pleasantly surprised. It didn't curl up too much. I'm just gonna put the cap on my brush. Oh, guys, it's been a week. It has been a week. So yeah, not bad, not bad. Do I want to put? I'm just gonna put in a touch of black along the bottom, and then just swoosh with some water. And you can see I'm really taking the water out of, and I'm using the side of the brush to just come down, keeping my nail on it. So yeah, okay. So yeah, it kind of does work. Now it's not filling in the crevices like I thought it was, but that's okay. We'll let that go. We will let that go. All right, so I'm just going to put this on the other board to dry, and now we'll work on this one, and we're going to do the same thing, just really just letting the paint come out, letting it get into those crevices. And I think what's happening is the brush, when I come in with the brush, it's taking it out of the crevices. And while I don't feel I have control, when it comes to these, I don't want to splash it down on this. And then while it's wet, I can come in with a darker brown. Now, I will say though, with brushes like this, they are a great um, watercolor substitute for you if you're looking to dabble. Oh, I'm gonna let that go just like that. Um, they have beautiful colors. And I am gonna add just a little bit of the black, just at the base. Um, these are very good um, liquid liquid watercolors. Oh, I don't even have to. Well, no, we'll just pull that up just a little bit, go across the grain, pull that down. That one's got more stuff in the grain. That's okay. So as you get comfortable with something, you can see that it will just take effect. And I really, really like that. Very much, very much. And then this is how this one's drying. The one that's going, good morning, Gwen. Hello. Hello. Am I missing anyone? Let's see. You know, Cordelia, I have been having a lot of fun um, with my watercolors. Now, the second layer, I'm going to leave those alone. I think the only thing what I will do with these is actually just come in on the side just to cover that edge up. It's probably easier if you do it with a marker. And then I'll come in just a little bit. Because I don't want, I'd rather not have that white show. But it's okay if it does. Fingers are going to get very inky on this one. I probably should have done this last. But yeah, I'm really starting to fall in love with watercolors and what we can do with them. I will never profess to be, I'm not a watercolor artist. I love watching them. The work they do is just magnificent. And I think that any coloring medium can go in our card making arsenal. So just covering up the sides and then coming in just a little bit in case I don't put it together correctly. That's how these are going to look. But I do like the look that watercolors give. Again, I'm not worried about what this front's going to look like. Now getting a little crazy here. Yeah, this would have been better. Now you don't have to do this with your watercolors. You could have used um, an alcohol marker around the sides because it would go a lot quicker. This dyeing is very, very dainty. But what I will say is now I use a Spellbinders die cutting machine. And I was kudos to who Sabrina uses for her dies. Usually with intricate dies like this, I have to run them through a couple times, make sure I have a shim and all of that. And I didn't, this was one pass. I kid you not, one pass. Now again, that's just my machine. Don't hold me to this. Okay, yep, got it all over me. I was just about to put that in the water. All right, let me cap these. And let me grab a baby wipe. Just get some of this off. Okay, Sean, good morning. They do, Cordelia. These do last a long time. Now, they last even longer when they're put somewhere and you don't see them. Just saying. But now that I can see them, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that. Um, are you all settled, Sean, um, in your new location? I hope. All right, so now I'm going to move these and just put those in the other board as well with the other branches. And now we're going to work on this one. Yeah. Um, I think I'm going to have some of that white coming through, and I'm okay with that. Oh, wonderful, Sean. You're getting back into your routine. You better make sure you make plans with Cordelia when you're in Georgia. I'm just saying. I just want to throw that out there for you. All right. I'm going to keep these close by. Let me get my greens out here. And I think I'm going to start out with my emerald. And I'm just going to put a little bit down. And I want my lagoon. Because I want to be specific when I put these colors down. And I'm going to use a smaller brush to do that. And we're going to add a lot of water to this. So we're just going to have the green and the brown on the piece. And then I know these are crossing the branches, but we're going to be pulling in gems to fill this in. So those gems are going to cover up these areas that I don't completely have. That'll be covered by the brown. And the gems are going to become the flowers. I hope that makes sense. And then we're going to come in with some of that blue and just drop it. I will say these watercolors are very vibrant. Meaning they do have they're not completely the same when it comes to, how they work and how they come back. Now I'm getting myself tangled up here. Let's see. And again, I'm just using the side of my brush to come down on these. When you try to paint these direct, your brush will get caught up into it. And again, just dropping that blue down. And it'll splatter. So how was everyone's week? Did we have a good week? Mine was a long week. Just a lot going on the project that I'm on. So it was just a very long week. And then I'm also okay if there's white showing in these as well. That was not the green that I used. That's the green I used. And then just swiping. Now I'm going to come in with my larger brush because I do want to cover up the always be careful when you open these too, because they can splatter. They can build up. I guess there's pressure in there and it can build up. And I'm going to come down here. See? It just splats. It's like it builds up. And I just want to mix these two greens together. Get that variation of color down there at the bottom. And then we're going to go along the edge. And again, we're just letting it do its thing. And then the big brush is going to cover up just some of those. While I'm okay with some of the white spots, I don't want it to all be white spots. I want that blue. Okay. So what's nice to see is this didn't coil up too much. So now when I place these down, we have that. And then we have that. And then this panel is dry. And I want to be careful. I have a fly in my room. Oy. Hang on. All right. Let me grab. So I have those clear sheets because I don't know if this is still wet. So I don't want it to go down onto my panel. So this is what it's going to look like so far. So if that goes there, and then this is going to go here. That's it. Okay, Cordelia, do not throw yourself out on the floor. Oh my goodness, no, don't do that. Oh, that's wonderful, Vicky. It sounds like a wonderful time. So this here will show me, okay, we need to just get these smaller pieces in. And for those, I'm just literally going to come in with just some of our browns. Again, I don't need this to be perfect. But I do want that branch just to come through. And then again, I'll touch up with gems and all of that stuff. And don't worry, I've got that plastic sheet down here. Now these pieces that I'm painting are actually die cut pieces as well. And I'm just touching up through those pieces that are not, that I did not die cut because I was not going to cut those or color those. Oops. All right, and I think we are good with that. Yes. So, see? Yeah, we got some paint down there, but that's why we have the plastic sheets. Chat away. All right, so so these are dry, which is cool. So I'm going to get these connected. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to hear some spraying here. Okay. So yes, as we craft, we are spraying a bug. Yes, that's what we're doing. That is what we are doing. Uh, Not sure why. All right, we're going to set that one aside, and I'm going to move this off, and I want to get this untaped. Again, very slowly. Now, I'm hoping that border is small enough. I know that side is. I used Canson XL Gwen watercolor paper for the die cuts as well. So all the paper that you're seeing right now, from this back panel to the die cuts, is Canson XL watercolor. Yeah, whenever I use watercolors, 9 out of 10, I am pulling in my Canson XL. I like the texture of it, and all that fun stuff. Okay, so this is all dry. So I'm going to start getting this glued into place. Oh, perfect border. Okay. All right, things are actually working. Woohoo! And I want to get this one glued on first. We're not out of the woods yet. All right. This would also, so what's great with Sabrina's dies too is they're versatile. And Cordelia had said it before. This can absolutely be used for Halloween as well. This would make a great Halloween panel, actually. Just having this in the background. I'm using more glue than normal because I do really want these pieces to stay down. So trying to hit all of these extra pieces before the glue dries. Is kind of sort of a challenge here. Yes, it is. And then for the gems, I'll be using, I just have to determine what color to use. But I will be using Sabrina's gem packs as well. Alright, here we go. Pieces like this, you do need to move quickly. And I'm having to move also quicker because I have my overhead fan on. And that does not help, believe it or not. While it settles the alright. settles my heat flashes. But it it can dry your glue very quickly. All right, now I am going to come in with some inks around these, and I'm going to choose a dark blue. And I'm going to choose my Uncharted Mariner, and that's just going to cover the sides. Just to try to cover those up. And you just want to take your time, go slow, make sure you're holding down your piece, and now that just takes care of that edge just a little bit, and then I'll come in with a dauber to finish that off. And these I'm just going to brush down. I'm not worried about it if I go over the brown that I did or the trees. But I just want to have that color in there. I should wait to do that because now that is going to go on top of this. And I want that to get there. So we're going to do the same thing. So have we been watching? I've been having fun watching the live videos. Of course, I've been watching the replays, though, but absolutely been loving the videos from Craft Roulette. Looks like they are all having a wonderful time. Got to see Biddy. I'm sure she's having a great time as well. Saw some beautiful cards. And again, just making sure I'm getting as many of these pieces as I can. I'm not sure what that music is. I think my husband's up. Okay. Now, I'm going to try to make sure I get this right in the corner. on the first try. Now we're just going to go down. Let's see. She does, Cordelia. You're absolutely right. Um, so Sabrina from Scrappy Tail Crafts, she is known for her pop-ups, her interactive, which are just phenomenal. She designed, in this collection, she designed a um, a gazebo. Now, this one, it does not collapse. It actually is a card that you would hand deliver, but it is a card nonetheless. But it's a gazebo. It's really cool. Um, and yes, she does go towards an A7 style, and that's because, you know, your pop-ups, you've got to have room for those mechanisms and all of that. But what's great is they do also fit the standard A2 size card maker as well, because not everybody likes a 5x7 card. Not everybody likes to work on that size. I mean, it's a lot of room. I mean, it's a lot of real estate. Um, you know, I again, I go up one more step because I like even a 7x7 card. Because again, there's more room for me to just keep adding and all of that. All right, we're going to get our tree trunks in place carefully. All right, that's one. Oh. And I'm just lightly getting rid of some of the excess glue there. But I think that with anything, even though, you know, some of her pieces are for, you know, the 5x7 or anything else like that, they can be, okay, that was funny. They can be used for standard cards too. Again, it just depends on how we cut them up and how we look at them and create different scenes with them. Getting glue all over my hands, but that's okay. And that one's going to sit right there. All right, same thing. We're going to get this down. All right, so that is our card so far. Now I'm seeing some white areas as well, and that's okay. I'll clean those up, but it's also, I think, part of the glue that I'm seeing. But I'll be able to get my fine brush and get up into that corner, get through here, go down into those sections, and that's what we'll do right now. Just to pick up and get those colors in using a fine detail brush. And we can quickly just cover those up. And since it's double layered, I can get down in there as well. That's how she's looking so far. And again, you can see the white when it comes to that. But, I mean, I'm okay with that. And yep, I just put that little tiny swirl there. Yes, I did. You knew it was going to happen. And that's okay. Because what we'll do... Remember, guys, we can fix anything. There's a problem when you talk with your hands. Just saying. And there you go. Just like that, it's fixed. Ha ha. Okay, let's get that out of the way. And I do want to come in around the edge. Oh, no, Cordelia. Yeah, we always have um, issues with ours as well. And it's our line outside, our plumbing line. It's not fun. Being a homeowner is just not fun. Okay. Now, so we fixed that. And again, we could always fix anything. So now I do want to get this onto my card panel and get some of this stuff cleaned up here because now I'm running out of room. I am. There. I'll get my water off the table because if I don't, I'll spill it. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. It's not fun. Yeah, homeowner is just, there's always something. Always. And they're all not fun. Just saying. They're just all not fun. I am going to use my 2-inch U-line adhesive here because this does have slight curve between the glues and the watercolors and everything else going on here. That is when I pull this tape out because it will flatten this piece out. And then we will get that onto our card panel. And I want one more. And then we will add the gems. My nails are blue. That's okay. That's the fun of crafting, right? Yeah, we learned the hard way, Cordelia, and things that you can't or that you shouldn't, put down your drains and all of that fun stuff. We finally had to get the whole line replaced. That was fun. All right. So now when I use this glue and I put this down onto my card base, I start up at the top corner. I hold it down. I line it up along the top. And then I start angling it and I start pushing. And boom, she's down. Now, if I'm crooked, I don't worry about it. Because that's the beauty of scissors. And we just trim that part away. Carefully. Very carefully. And then, now I'll do the bottom layer. I only do one layer at a time. Paper shifts. And I just use the edge of the scissors going up. I don't know what this is caught on. There we go. Alright, so that is the front of our card so far. I really like it. I think it looks different. Again, it's something different to try. Some of it did go into the crevices. I'm okay with that white border. I think it adds a level of it shifting up. Now, I do need, so in this die set comes the sentiment. And that's going to sit down here. So I didn't even have to do any of that work, but, just in case, I wasn't quite sure where I was going to put that. And this is going to be a chipboard style piece. And then I want this in blue, a navy blue. A deep navy blue. Okay, with that. I'm going to keep both of those out. Not quite sure which way I'm going to go. Going to pull in okay, Gwen is being sneaky. Now we're videotaping people. Oh my goodness. But Gwen, I have to admit, no, they'll still say they didn't do it. I'm just saying. I'm just just saying. So I'm going to use my Scout. And kudos to you all, okay, when it comes to the utilization of these magic mats, because I like them and they work. But guys, I cannot get mine to go flat again. I have, as Cordelia said last week, throw it out in the sun. Okay, I did. And we have had some heated, hot days going on. I did that for a long time. I actually forgot it was out there. Yep. Actually forgot it was out there. And it was hot. I mean, it was hot. Meaning the pad itself. So when I got it inside, I immediately put it back on, I put it under heavy books. Now, I've got a dictionary that's this thick and huge. I slapped it underneath that for a long time. Nope. It has gone back to its shape. It just, I cannot get my magic mats flat. And I really, really do like them. I really do like them. I used my heat gun. My husband was concerned how long I ran this heat gun. Came up and he goes, "What you doing, hon?" like, I'm heating up my mat. And when he heard me say that, he just walked away. He just absolutely walked away. He's like, okay, I'm not even going to ask. So which one, guys? The teal green, and or the blue? Which one? And that's what I was finding with the heat gun, Cordelia. I was finding that I was getting a shiny spot, and I'm like, oh my God, this thing's burning, and it's going to create fumes, and I shouldn't have fumes. I'm sure these are not good to breathe in. So, yes. Yes. Gwen, no, I did not have my window open because it's 110 degrees with high humidity. So, yeah, that's, my craft room allows for, teal it is, allows for a lot of entertainment. So that was that. But yeah, I can't, they won't flatten out. And it's weird, if I take it, these things are awesome. They'll bend. They will bend. And I know this is the magnetic one, but it's also with the ones that are non-magnetic as well. I mean, they'll bend flat out again. I mean, look, I can do that, and it looks like it's flattening out, and then it just takes that shape back. So yeah. It doesn't mean I'm not going to use it. It means that there is something that I am just not doing right. And I'll figure it out. So that was the first awesome process in the craft room. Yesterday was fun. It's never a dull moment in here. And yes, I'm in here by myself with the cat. So I think we have to call um I forget what they're called. Bug people. Um I think that's what they're called. Um to the house because I guess about a week ago there was a fly in the room and the noise was driving me crazy. You know, I'm like, where is it? So I found it, and it was a big fly. I mean, not a horse, not a horse fly. Um, yes, pest control. Um, could I shadow the teal in the dark blue? I could. We can see what that looks like. Um, uh, yeah, I'm surprised Max is not like, okay, what's that sound? Because when he's out, we have a room in the back of the house. I call it the sunroom. Um, where oh yeah, I mean he climbs the walls. He just absolutely climbs the walls. Bless his heart. And climbs the screens. And here, no, he's sound asleep. Just sleeps away. Um, and again, this was like 3 weeks ago. Well, yesterday, and I got it yesterday, and obviously my aim is bad. I mean, I'm like right there, but no, not this time. It took forever. Um, Yesterday I heard another one buzz by my ear, and I'm like, oh, here we go again. Well, here there was two other ones, and I'm like, okay, this is not going to happen. So, and they were by my one. It's almost like they wanted to get outside because they kept on going to the window. So I'm like, all right, I'll open the window. I'll sweat, not a problem. So I open the window, and on my windows I have darkening curtains off to the side. Um, if I need them, and then I also have shears. Well, they were like in the shear, so I'm like, all right, I'll trap you in the shear. I get creative when it comes to these things. So I trapped them. I got one, and then I trapped the other ones um, in the shear. So I got the window open. These people outside are probably like, what is she doing? So I'm hanging out the window, and I had to clear the whole area out because I didn't want to knock anything over. I'm hanging out. I'm shaking the shear. Well, they must have liked the shear because they were hanging on. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I've got the shear shaking. I've got tongs, long tongs, because I don't want to touch it. It was just an event. It was an all day event. Meanwhile, the cat slept right through it. I'm like, really? Okay. I'm like, if anyone would ever videotape this. Good morning, Anthony. Yes. So you mean the blue in the back of the teal, correct? Correct, Gwen? So if I do that, let's see here. I want it to be subtle. I don't know. Whenever I do an offset, and it's probably my eyes, it seems blurry. What do you think? Yes, Dawn. Did that bring you out of hiding with that story? Yep. It really doesn't make a difference. Um, this is without. I think it's clearer. Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards just the one color. And I am leaning towards the green now that I got that down there. Um, so it was good to die cut both. Although the blue looks nice too. Um, you know what? Let's hold off with the color that we use because let's do our gems. They might change based off the gems that we use. Right? Right. Okay. Here we go. So this is how these are my scrappy tails. I love her gems. I do. I keep them in rainbow order too. I love rainbows. I'm really not a rainbow person, but I love them. Okay. Okay, I definitely don't want red. How about these blue and green and aqua? What do you think? And these are actually, these blue green ones, they're actually like a swirl. They have both the green and the blue on them. But I think I want another color. We could do, no. No. I keep saying no. No. I thought I had, we could do these iridescent purples. Okay, let's do that. All right, let's have some fun. I think I'll do these blue-green ones. Great, now these are going to go all over the place. Why is it every time I pour out my beads, they go upside down? It's really frustrating. All right, so I'm going to put one of the blue-green ones, lots of glue, way too much glue, here. Because technically that's where a branch should be. And I'm going to put one bridging here, so I need a large one. So covered up that bridge. And I'm going to do one right there. And we'll do another one right there. Leave that little puppy in there. Okay. Oh my. Still have a pen in my head. So, yeah, that was the debacle yesterday. So now that I've seen like 4 of them, I think I have to call in an exterminator or just have somebody come check it out because yeah, no. We're not going to deal with that in any way, shape, or form. So hopefully it's nothing major, but I just don't understand why. I'm thinking maybe because of the heat. I mean, so I'm eastern Pennsylvania, and we have had, I think we're going on our 6th heat wave. Yeah, we're about to go into our 6th. So, and that's, yes, we have warm summers, but we've never had that many heat waves like we've been. So I don't know if it's because of that. Yes, it is. It is this set here. It is called the Willow Tree Cover Plate. And we should put these inside or else I'll lose them. So you get this huge cover plate, and then you also get the trees and the pieces to put on top. And what I did, Olga, was I die cut it, and I die cut all the pieces, and then I watercolored over those pieces to give it this look, and then I did a background, a watercolor background, to create the sympathy card. So this card is for a friend of mine and my sister's, where we grew up. We had neighbors across the street from us that my parents were friends with, and we were friends. Me and my sister were friends with the son and daughter, um, and their mom has recently passed. So sympathy cards are usually not cards that I keep on hand or have on hand. Now we're going to put the purple gems in, and we're just going to fill in a little more with those. And, okay, you know what? Why do you all go in upside down? So, we have the viewing services on Tuesday. And I thought that this die set would be perfect. So these are two-tone purples, meaning there's a light and a dark. And I am just placing them around. I got so for those of you that are in the community, got the last of the postings up and in there. So they will be running through until, oh, that worked. Through until July 30th. And for August, we, in the first level, and remember that is free because nobody should not have fun. We are going to deep dive. Deep dive. Hello, Maddie. Good morning. We are going to deep dive into, get ready, Gwen. You're going to love it. Simplicity. All about simplicity. Well, Cordelia, don't worry that you're missing posts. They are there forever. That's the beauty of the communities as well. They will always be there. I'm not going to take them down. Now we're going to fill in with the light blue. And let's see where that takes us. So yeah, we are going to go deep into simplicity. I'm sure you all have seen my simplicity series here. And basically, you know, we're just taking a paper pad and just having fun with it. Just having fun with that paper pad, creating cards, letting the paper do the work for us. Because it can. Why not? But for there, we're just going to go a little deeper. You can, no matter what dyes or anything that you have, they can be simple as well. We can keep everything that we do simple, or work in a simplistic mindset, if that makes sense. So, I hope, for those of you that are there, you'll like that. It's a way to get into my mind. I'm not sure anybody wants to be there, but, you know, at least nothing else. Here you get funny stories of me fighting with flies that I don't understand are in my house. I don't know why they would visit. But yeah, this craft room just really pulls in all kinds of fun. Besides being creative. Okay, so that is our panel now. So it's got a little bit of brightness with the sunset. And again, that was done with watercolors. All right, and then after I put those colors down, so a bright yellow and then a deep red and a bright blue and purple, I then came from the top with a black watercolor wash and just went over it, and that just toned it down. I didn't lose the colors, I just toned it down. All right, and that was done, you know, with a wash, but not a lot of water. It didn't have as much water as what sometimes we would usually do um, for a wash background. Um, so, and that was traditional watercolors, you know, with a brush, you know, from the tube and all of that. When it comes to the die cut pieces, I still die cut them out of Canson XL watercolor paper. I love that paper. I know it's not 100% cotton, but I love that paper. I absolutely love it. Um, and I think that's a great blend. Um, I then took the die cuts, die cut them all twice, and the top layer I used the Altenew watercolor brush markers. I did have it on a palette, a glass palette, and picked it up because I didn't want it to splash and do all of that. And I was able to get these variations when it comes to, you know, the wood, the trees, the greens. I added blues, have the willows come down, and then just added scrappy tailed gems as well. Because her gem packs they're awesome and amazingly priced. They are really a good deal with what she puts in here. I think these are like sequins now. I don't think I'm ever going to run out. And then I just keep them in my little case here. That's it. All right, so now we get to decide again. Yeah, Maddie, we had fun with it really worked. But yeah, using black over that, and again, I didn't lose the colors because, again, you just put a lot of water to it. So now we're back at, I mean, I could actually nestle this down here if I wanted to as well, because I don't want to lose. I need to put some foam tape there. How thick is that? Okay. So that's what we're going to do in level 1. Okay, that'll work. And then for level 2, we are going to do it's another journal, but setting up your pages differently. And here's I'm looking for something, can you tell? Oh. Okay, so I found it. So in July, we did a single signature in level 1, and then in level 2, we just looked at, all right, so guys, you're going to make a decision here for me. So here's the blue. Let's see if I can lift this up without it shifting. So there's the blue. So we did a single signature, and we just used scraps for the pockets, the tucks, the cover. Showed a different way on a master board. Used the cut aparts from the pattern paper because don't ever throw those away. They are awesome. And then they actually became part of the closure for the ribbon. So that's the blue. Do you like the blue? With the card. Or, and then in the second level, we just looked at book pages. What can you do with book pages? And I know there's controversy. Please, let's not have it here when it comes to book pages. But they're, you know, I'd rather see a book be repurposed than go into the trash. You know, we can give it new life, new love. And I actually went through and different folds and what you can do with book pages and then dig into those scraps again. Let me tell you what, I'm loving all the communities because you know what? I am going through my scraps. So kudos to you guys. And now that's the green, the teal green. So which one do you guys think? I like them both. Pam. Snug in there. Oh, thank you, Olga. I think the blue's going to be the winner. Okay. We'll go with it. Yeah, the green's kind of, now that I looked at it far away, it's kind of like, well, getting lost in there. Okay. So I'll put that in my pot to save with my other things there. Um, and what I mean by book pages, that's a book page. The tags are book pages. That's a book page. This is a book page. See, there's the book. And we decorate it, and then we create a flip to do that. And it's pockets. So creating your pockets, the tabs are book pages. Because you can do that. This envelope is a book page. I do just cover up a lot of the book pages and use them as bases because I get very nervous if there's a naughty word. I just, I just, I don't want that to happen. I have the right in front of me. But you don't have to. I mean, I do scan them just to make sure, but book pages are great. So that's, we kind of just, slowed it down just a little bit because we've been going, pretty hot and heavy there. Want you guys to breathe, not go running. But again, for level 1, we're doing that deep dive into simplicity. It's not just going to be about, your pattern paper. It's going to be using, your stash, and from very simple stamps and dies to the more intricate ones, and how we can keep that simple. There's a lot of techniques out there, and they're beautiful techniques. But we always don't have to. There's other ways to use our supplies. So that's what we're going to dive deep into with August. And then for the second level, we're going to do another journal. But we are going to set our pages up. Everything's going to be the same. But when we work with our ephemera and our pages, we can make them interactive. It's like how I did that with my hands, interactive. We can definitely make them that. And they don't have to, so an example of one of the, trying to find it here. So you can see, now this isn't so interactive, but you can see how this almost takes up the whole page. Those are the like just one of the things that we'll look at. You don't have to, and still have plenty of journaling space. So again, we're going to take journaling up one notch when it comes to how you can work with your journals and how you can decorate them, how you can have the combination when it comes to that. You use less pages, and you'll see that as well. Oh my goodness, I just pulled that part. Okay, there's our card. What do you guys think? I think she's pretty. Now, this actually came from a 7x7 card base. So I just cut off 2 inches, but the envelope is now too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the envelope, and I'm going to take my pencil, and I'm going to make a mark, and I'm going to cut it and cut down the envelope. The scraps that I used for my sentiment came from that card, and I'll keep that other piece as well. Going to chop that off. And I'm going to erase my pencil. And then all I'm going to do is just put a thin bead of glue. I'm not going to be too worried about this closure, only because I know I'm hand delivering the card. And here we go. Oh, thank you all, guys. Appreciate that. I know look, we can surprise ourselves. I mean, I did not know if this was going to work, so why not try it? Again, it's another way to colorize your die cuts. You know, use your watercolors, use your markers, use colored pencils. They're a little tricky, um, very tricky. But we can use all of this. So this is the first time I've ever tried this. When it came to the background, I didn't know if that black was going to work, but I didn't want the bright colors that I was getting, because watercolors, they are vibrant. Even though they dry back, they're going to keep those shades. But by taking, and what the color was, it wasn't black, it was Payne's Gray, which is an awesome neutral shade. But just by having that, just that little bit, having it washed down, and then just lightly going over it, it pulled the colors down. I didn't know it was going to work. But don't ever be scared of the scary darks and the whites. They can do wonderful things to your colors. But I really like this. And again, it's another way to stretch out. You know, maybe you don't have all of the color of cardstocks. You know, there's a lot of colors out there. And again, this craft, it's easy. It is very easy to go broke. It truly, truly is. Now, let's make sure that this fits. You got a lot of dimension, and she does. So there we go. We changed up our envelope, and we've got the card that fixed, and now I am all set for the viewing. Oh, let's add a little bit of glue there. Oh my goodness. Let's get that glue back down. Let's make sure this holds up. Okay, so that's good. All right. So, as always, I use inks only. Top scale of watercolor. So you use water reactive inks as your watercolors, Olga? Because that's one of the best watercolor palettes in the world, honestly, in my opinion. If you have water reactive inks, they can work just like watercolors. They really can. I mean, and why not? And it's another way to stretch that supply when it comes to that. So I think that's awesome. Oh, thank you, Dawn. It's different. I like it. I like that technique. It's something that I'll explore just a little bit more. Um, it was fun to do. And now that I did it just a little bit, now I'll be like, wonder if we can do this. Because, you know, we always got to push ourselves, right? We've always got to try. You know, it's like my grandma. I always hear my grandmother in the back of my head. Because if food looked weird, I wasn't going to eat it. And my one grandmother was Italian. And my other grandmother was Hungarian. And they made the best food, but I never really knew it. because I wouldn't try it. So we always heard, well, how do you know if you don't try it? And they were right. They were right. This is how I store my brush markers. Any brush marker that's got ink in it, you should store it up like this, not point down, because it will just keep, it'll pull the inks out. And again, whenever you open these, open them away from your project, because they will, again, I don't know if it's the pressure that can build up in here, but they will splatter out. That's a technical sound. It'll splatter out. But this is how you should store them. So whether you have the Zigs or the Altenews, you want to store them upright so that the inks stay down in the barrel. Because even if you keep them sideways, I think that's where the pressure was, and that's what was happening. I had them down flat, so every time I opened it was just splurting out. So yeah, so those are the updates in Podia. I'm going to keep working with my magic mats. I'm not giving up because I do like them. I really do like working with them. I think I do get, I think I actually get better cuts from the magic mats. So I will keep working on them, but I'm just not going to use my heat tool. Just saying. It was a long time that I had that, and they make it look so easy on the advertisement. I watched the advertisement. I'm like, okay, what is she doing that I'm not? So yeah, it's me. I know it's me. Absolutely. I keep it fun and I keep it interesting, and I must entertain myself, so I do. So yes, this I think is the quickest. The quickest. You are right, but I would like to take that courage and try watercoloring, as I have it also. Try it. You know, Cordelia, the best way to try watercolor is to just get a piece of watercolor paper. And I'm sorry, I love the Canson XL watercolor. And I get it. It's not 100% cotton. I absolutely get it. It's, you know, that's the Bible. That's what we should have. And I agree. It's, if you're going to be and want to be a true watercolorist, then yes, you should have those supplies. But for me, the best part of watercolor is mixing. So just grab, I mean, you've got a bright yellow. It almost looks green. But if I take that yellow, and of course if I add some blue, it's going to create a green. And there's, now, if I take that same yellow and take a different shade of blue, so here's a turquoise, and if I mix that together, now I get a brighter green. And if I take that same yellow and take even a different shade of blue, and I think this is cobalt, I get an even different shade of green. So again, this I think is ultramarine blue. Now, ultramarine blue, it's a wonderful color. So let's see here. Yes. This is ultramarine. This is cerulean. Cerulean blue. Chrome. And then this one here was cobalt teal. But you can see because of the different blues and what they have, you're going to get 3 different greens. You're going to get different values. With the teal, it's going to be a bright green. This one's going to create that true, like a normal green. And then this one's going to be deeper. I think this one, I think I had too much blue going on in there. But just take your colors and have fun with your mixes. Let's try that ultramarine again. Let's start out here. Yeah. So that, if I'm not mistaken, there's your green. That's a green. This, I think, is close to a hooker's green. Your sap green is a lot deeper. But it's close to that. So just have fun mixing. And again, you can see, you can mix on a piece of paper. I very rarely, now, there are times where I will clean my palette, but other than that, I'll just keep reusing my palettes. I have this side usually here for my purples and my reds and my corals, and then my yellows go up in here, and I just keep mixing on top of it. And that's the beauty of watercolor. Nothing goes to waste. Absolutely nothing goes to waste. These watercolors here, so for the background, these are the QORs. Distress oxides, Olga, are perfect because you can watercolor with them as well. And I like the different take that you get on the distress oxides. Again, they are very unique, and their property is, to me, cool. Because you can stamp with them, and you can stamp on light and dark color paper, and when you add water to it, they light up. It's phenomenal how they just light up. They blend beautifully. You get great results when you flick water at them and just let it go. Those are things that I just love to let go. I don't like to lift them off. Now, if you do lift them off, what's interesting with some of your oxides, you get to see that undertone color that's in there. Even with the distress inks, you'll see this undertone when you lift it. But I just like to let it dry after a while because you get those hard edges. Get those hard edges, and then I'll make it drip and make it go, and you get those different things. Oxides, you can even watercolor with oxides. Absolutely. So to me, the oxides are the most versatile out of all the ink pads. Distress inks do come second, but I think there's a lot of ties when it comes to the distress inks themselves, because I love the color palette of it, and I love the way that they ink smush when it comes to the distress inks. But same thing, I don't stamp with them. I don't like how they stamp. So they're missing that, but they were supposed to. They were a special ink pad. They're not like the Simon Says Positively inks that can be used as a watercolor. You can stamp with them. You can blend with them. You can watercolor. I mean, you can do all of those things with them simply because they're water reactive inks. So you can take an ink pad and just stretch it right out. You don't have to have these separate entities, which is cool. Which is really cool. And Olga, you don't need a fancy watercolor set. I know I've said this before. My favorite is Crayola. The 8 color. Now they also come in a 16. They've also come in a 24 set. But this will help you color. This will help you mix your colors. And these are great. I think I did a video recently where I had a flower sprig here and a flower sprig here. I think it was in the last 2 weeks. And these are what I used for watercoloring. It's mixing. I think that's what's intimidating, and to see these beautiful artists with all of these things. Pattern paper does the work. Let the watercolors do the work. One of the things that I love to watch the most is if I put water down. So this is a wet on wet technique. And my water's dirty. And if I grab watercolor and I just touch, it just goes. It just moves. I love it. It's beautiful. So let the watercolor do the work for you. Fill in your image after you stamp it. Fill it in with a little bit of water and just touch it with your watercolors. Okay, Gwen, wouldn't they be awesome to tangle on? Just saying. Have a good one, Cordelia. But you can just have... Will watercolors damage in time? No. The only way watercolors will damage in time, all right, is if you don't take care of them. And here's what I mean. So here in this palette, I've got water. This is still wet, this is still wet, this is still wet. I still have water sitting in my palette. You want to let this air dry before you close it. All right, so this will be set aside so that it will air dry. And then once I know it's dry, then I'll close it up and I'll put it back on my shelf. If I close this up before it's dry, I could get mold in here because of the water. That is one way to just destroy the little bit of watercolor that you have in here. Do you have to have as much as I do in this palette? No. This is going to take me forever to have to refill any of these wells. I do like tubes. And as long as you keep the cap tight on a tube of watercolor, it'll last years. It'll last decades. As long as the container doesn't get air in it or the sides get, pricked with a hole, it'll last for years. Now, keeping your caps on tight, yes. Now, sometimes it can be tough to get those caps off. I highly recommend this gadget. All right, you can find, I got mine on Amazon. It's by Golden, who now owns QOR. All right, and it handles the tops of tube paints. And I had a cap on so bad, I was twisting the tube. Okay, don't twist your tube. It's not good. So get it untwisted. The moment I finally got one of these, it opened right up. These are very inexpensive. And again, it's just, I honestly, I don't know what it's called. It's by Golden. You could search tube opener. Paint tube opener. So no, they will last a lifetime. And again, you've just got to take care of them. All right, so make sure that once you use your palette, let it air dry. When you fill your palette, if you're using tubes, okay, after you fill your palette, you need to let it air dry like this for about 48 hours. Let them get hardened. and they will get hardened. And then you can close up the palette. That's the only way that they will go bad. Or, unfortunately, there are some bad brands out there, but I haven't come across any yet. So, no, they'll last you a wonderful, wonderful a lifetime. And I will tell you this. So there's a palette that I had, or that I have. So Daniel Smith watercolors are wonderful, but they are not watercolors that I gravitate to. I'm a fan of Mission Gold, QOR, and Lucas watercolors. So these saved up, and I got my Lucases. These are fine. What I will do is I will spray my watercolors with a water bottle before I start watercoloring, and that activates them. So you don't have to keep scrubbing them with your brush, you know, with the water and all of that. By adding water on the top, it just activates them. I was talking with somebody, and I wasn't watching what I was doing. I literally sprayed my watercolors with alcohol, rubbing alcohol. Yep. Told you guys, it is interesting in the studio. So this is my water bottle. See the big sign that says water? It's always been there. And here's the alcohol. See the big sign? Yeah, it's always been there. Keep them 2 different colors. I should have put the water in the blue. You know, just saying. And I literally sprayed the entire palette with rubbing alcohol. There were some tears, and there was lots of screaming going on. These are fun. I took a paper towel, the corner of it. I sopped up all of the alcohol that was sitting around them. And then I just let it air dry for 24 hours and did not touch them. And they were fine. So even that will not destroy them. And just know that sometimes as you use them, they'll dry differently. And that's okay. So this here dries very matte. This one too dries very matte. This is, I think it's Caput Mortem. And this is, oh, I forget what that favorite color of mine is. English Red. But they dry matte, where this one is puddly, but it's dry. So they will look differently, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that they're bad. All right, so I hope that helped. Olga? Yeah. 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 It was, you know, it just kind of sat there. The watercolor didn't react too much. And as I was dipping the paper towel, I mean, I was literally just taking a paper towel and taking the corner and just pushing it down onto the side to sop it up. And again, alcohol will evaporate. So those that didn't get too much, they had already evaporated. It just evaporated off of it. But I did not touch them after I got the puddle out from each of the wells for about 24 hours. And they are fine today. Absolutely fine. They work. They reactivate just great. No issues. Nothing was damaged with the colors. The colors are still true to what they were. So, yeah. It's still vibrant. Nothing caked on. Or anything else. And don't worry if you get other colors within your watercolors. You know, look, I got a teal here, and oh no, I'm gonna go in there. It's okay. You're absolutely fine. Yeah, you're gonna change the color a little bit, but it will go away eventually, and you'll get the true color back. Um, so say right there, color's back, and now it's just back to the peach. You know, watercolors are that. They are versatile, fun, but yeah, none of them got damaged. I thought I destroyed the entire palette. And even though that doesn't look like a lot of watercolor, especially from the Lucas tubes, that's a lot. This will last a long time because you don't need this much. Dot cards are great to find out what watercolor you want if you're looking for a professional grade. Um, and they'll last a while. They'll last a long time. Yeah, everything is fine with this. Yeah, this is this here is actually my dream palette. Um, it's all the colors that I gravitate to. It's the colors that I love, and it's a combination of the Lucas and Holbein colors. But yeah, it was a bad day. But again, you know, we keep going through it, and we don't say, oh my God, they're ruined. No, they're very resilient, very 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 um, resilient when it comes to all of that fun stuff. But watercolors can do that. They'll just whew, just let them do the work. So don't be scared. Dive in. Get a piece of paper and just start having fun. Stamp your image, put your water in there, and just pick up your color and just drop it in. And let it do it. Drop one color on one side of that puddle and drop another color on another side of that puddle and watch what happens and just let it go. Let it dry. And boom. It's going to be amazing the way the two colors just come together. And they'll do that. They don't do it instantaneously, but they do that. And you know, drying your watercolors as well. Again, I was talking, you know, this is all tube. Same applies to pans. Pans are just as good as tubes. So there's no difference. Your pans are just all ready to go. You just got to unwrap them, put them back into their case, and boom, you're all set. I work the same way with pans. I'll spray them first to get them activated, um, and then let it air dry before you close it. You don't want to close it when it's still wet. That's the only thing that could damage the palette, because mold could set in, and you don't want that. So just let it dry. Hello, the friends. Oh, Maddie, do you like the Holbein? Aren't they nice? Holbeins are nice. They are. They are very nice. Their pastel palette is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And they're the colors, you know, that you just can't mix. But you can. Just add white. I know, that's taboo, too, in the watercolor world. But white, titanium buff. They must be part of my palette along with Payne's Gray. And I just love the kaput mortar. All right. So, okay, we had a little chit chat on watercolors. Okay, these just look fun. I gotta do some of those. These would be fun to tangle in little tiny leaves and all of that fun stuff. Um, I think if you're starting out with watercolors, do not start out with granulating. Granulating will get you frustrated. But granulating are my favorite. So, yeah. Absolutely love granulating. And pretty soon, once I'm done playing with them, we'll do something in a live with granulating. Um, they're just beautiful colors. But you always have a granulation in ultramarine. That'll always granulate. All right, so again, here's our card. It's all nice and dry. And it's a little sparkly. I absolutely love the Weeping Willow. It's beautiful. But thank you so much, guys, for hanging out with me. I know we missed Biddy yesterday. I know I did. But we got to see her in some videos. I know she's having a good time, and I'm sure everybody there is having a wonderful time. at the Paper Ganza for Craft Roulette. Um, it's just fun to see that we can see some of those videos as well. Now, this will dry as well because I played with it. Um, but I will be, let's see, what's today? Today's the 27th. Yes, I will be live next Sunday. And I'm not sure if the Sunday after that, there is going to be a Sunday where I am not live. And I will let you know that in the lives. I'm doing another retreat with my sister. I get to travel to her house this time. Absolutely love doing those things. They're fun. Gets me away as well. As always, once I end this, I'll have links down below if I've got some of you curious on the Podia level 1 or level 2. I'll have the link down there if you want to check it out and sign up. I hope to see you there. And what I am loving is some are able to post back. So I'm able to see the photos of what they're creating with what we're talking about and everything else. And I'm just loving that immensely because I can see that. I know YouTube has a community that they've built here. I will not be utilizing that. I utilize for all of my courses that are available and my community. That's all going to sit on the link that will be down below. And as I said, we're finishing up July, and I will soon be, I've already started filming, but we will be starting to launch the August projects. So I hope to see you there. But thank you so much for stopping by. I'm very glad that you're here. I hope you had fun. We finished a card. Just one. But we tried something new, and then we had a little chit chat about watercolors, which I think is always fun as well. Um, we've always got to we're always going to learn, and that helps us to grow and continue to be creative. All right, but thank you so much. I truly appreciate you spending this time with me, being here. I'm grateful. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have fun. Remember, enjoy the process. And Olga, just jump in. Get those watercolors out, grab some water, and just have fun with them. You're not going to mess anything up. It's just paper. That's all it is. It's just paper. All right, guys, love you all. Take care and have a great one. See you next time.